ro nga chu ki sonam tindi ke cha de re ji yong cha ne nga chu sam tang bi na re zamblang la ko mong bo yo re ma ji pa yin bi so ro ji re thi na ya ji phe na ke manda wa ji ten de nga chu yo re.
And so we are all really extremely fortunate because we have a precious human birth with the leisures and endowments. And not only that, but we've actually met with the Dharma, with the sublime Dharma, and we have all, there isn't anyone here who has not, received precious empowerment, teachings, transmission from the emanation of Chenrezig himself. And so we all have share, this really extremely fortunate karma and merit and good fortune. There are so many people in the world, and those who have such a rare conditions or opportunities are really so few.
Thank you, na yere nga chu khokap yabo khandira yore wanglong thi tene ta pena phu nang ro ji chongbi na ji thana yang jo den jin jan zo ke ji ko par ji yang tene ge ya yo marwa tene ji phagi la ji phu na la sa ya me wa thang Tunga Mewata, Tinida Mare, Koran, Coinchiki to survive, Khawa Narwa, your read in a young jig so rojic, Nedesang, and the Gondo, somebody, some Tugio Mari. Maybe Jung Santana, Amachi Chanso, Naso, Naya, Tene, Hombajam the 2 inch chance of Chipajicha, then the child of Jiresam, the Tinu Yang, so Naso Tanta Kokab Yuba. Yang kokap malan wa thang ji yang na kokap yoba de la ji samsang ga zu remind ro ga zu thengku ma chang yin na dan de ro ji yin ji de sam ba ji lo xia zi ge ro wa tin de ga zhong guan ne tang de zong na qian bo le ro wa wo tin de kokap yak bo le tin de da ji guo ya ji bu di da ga zu nian lian qie ya le tin de xie ka xin jie ca so wang ka si top ca so ro wa long kasi top chas or tin de tinik tone ji yang de yang de tene ji sendep chi yang de be ji sonam chembo re zamba na ya de tene ke chembo ji ngarang mon tong de do.
For example, this opportunity to receive empowerment, transmissions, and teachings, especially from His Holiness the Dalai Lama, is so incredibly rare and fortunate. Thinking even of those who are in Tibet who don't even have the opportunity, or they're not allowed to even have images or photos of him, let alone actually to be able to meet him in person. And so to maybe they can survive. There is enough to eat and to drink. But when we think about, and so Drupon La is speaking particularly to the Tibetan community here, having escaped. Many have walked over through the Himalayas as he has, and so now being here and having these opportunities, it's good to be reminded of them, and to really reflect on how extraordinarily great this merit is. And to actually, especially having received these empowerments and transmissions, and having been able, to come into contact with such a great teacher and teachers, to actually practice, to put these instructions into practice, and to meditate, and to always reflect upon how great the merit is.
Temba tang, chepsi, chu tang, jikten tsin datang chima tindri ke tukor hi dongye lama jegla nga so hi ngus je tene pawa top tene wang top tri top tene ji tene nga so ngone ji zerem do so lagu nari social media khasa kala ta WhatsApp da tene Facebook da tezo tsama ta ti khandi rawang do wa cheya do wa ina ti cheya de da nga so ni America samo ta bi na da normal ko da chami chi de gro sam gro wa ina samno yagbo ta na sa che shimba je cheya do we cheya men do wa yo re jik pe na da ben di gung jam gong do rawon je go na de ta na jo ding sin rawon je go sam na lu so lu dang go so lu da na thang ji ha ra go ma wa ti do nga so da ko khap yagbo so de chenbu nga zo ti hen yuan den de se ya do wa hen ji song do wang xu jiao guang na ro ji yang chou yang jie xu yang chou jie xu ta na me cha do o ti nga zo so nam ro wa so nam re ti du
And this weekend, Saturday, 2 days, Saturday and Sunday, we have had this incredible opportunity to receive blessings and a lot of advice from His Holiness Drupon Trinley Rinpoche, both that applies to Dharma practice and also, benefit in our worldly lives. And so this merit can bring about so much benefit and well-being in this life and then also in future lives, to actually be able to be in the presence of such an extraordinary being, to receive powa from him, to having received empowerment and transmission and also teaching. And then we have the freedom to, share all of this, to post it all on social media, on Facebook. And this is, this is the case in America, but not, and it's not normal or even an option in other places. And so we really have, again, such an incredible opportunity, and it's such a great merit.
단 지지는 가서 고마지 병에 야근으로 이나 야보되면도 이는 양다지 나랑 개텐수 가시지 쉬샤나 삼성 딘도 대가나 이 저된지 저 답송도 가서 지 치춘 틈무 많이 봐 라와 지 점벌는 그 머리 향상 만다와 지 요래 같이 요래라와 가서 넘버 30백 주 들어와. 때마다 대 요래 돼. 그 점벌면 참마 코란서 제갑도 참마디 에듀케이션에 가리나 레카데 또다 요래 와다티. 대가 존대한 도야 요 말아. 이네 요리 디네야. 디 나네. 되네 지 배 만다와. 라와. 뺀나 저와든지 자소이는 점벌랭게 되네 진 케파 라와 잠벌랭키 주축보 대가 나히게 지 bombo 첨부 그yap체 짜첨부 짜 정도와 디 가르치 지거래 맞아 제캅이요 제캅 현바는 제캅 제게 신지 제캅 제도는 발라케 상지거래 초라케 상지거래 와 이내야 pena jawa dinzi janso ke pena politically ji jungu pho thola phar je kap hel ro pha ji ta pe kha wo re ba ya yo ma wa ina khari yo re nga so chechon thumu ma yin ba number sanji bi ki ta quality ro number sanji ba thni ji yo ne khandi tse thong chi te ji bu ma re ro pena thamba ji chilo chama la ji phobe lama thawa ina re 지 천통 지거를 같이 지거래. 그봐. 삼상가 정도에 느끼 마시네 배다 지. 저는 사탕통 다 야봉고 마초댕에 더솔라야. 그겹 지거를 같이 그겹 지거래. 넘버 30백 추. 지 이거래스. 공소지 냠내 지기도 ussam니. 텔가서 천통 지거래 봐. 텔가서 포발래 이거래. 그러 or Montason. Okay, you don't that you make short.
No, not sure.
Yeah.
So also, we're really in a different situation here. What we have, which is so special and unique, and what the Tibetan people have, which is so special and unique, is the Dharma, the sublime Dharma. In other countries, maybe there is kind of a lot of education or other sort of advancements or technology. Okay.
I think that's okay.
So maybe it's okay.
This is a little bit take time. Okay. So majority in these Tibetans.
Yeah. Okay.
So the nga chu ju ne. Rawa tindi ki mixi yo wa. Tindi ke tsa chi mu khar chi ne yo re. Sena nga so namba sanji be ki chu tre da. Ngone da. Namba sanji be nga so le jun de ke ke chi ne ta thangbo ne phakcha ma sha sha de. Nambe ki chu phakcha sha ke ge jum san de ne. Chu jerem gona ya bo hing mi na ya nga so le jun de te kon rang ji yong de do. Tel me shimba ji la go le la yo ma re. Pe tha bo re, pe kha bo re. tindi nga tsu ju li yo re, ti kha ko gu do. Rwa, tiga na ji ke, chi yang nga tsu la yu zamba te dakpo ja gu do, nga tsu kei to yo rwa. Te pobe ri yung re, pobe chu re, pobe kei re. Ta te yang tiga na me tang chi, o ta ti khala sasa ma re zo na pe gu par da. 담배 기 추틀라 토마르게와 타마르게와 동성보 드브성보 센디양 펜바 세치말라 펜바 드리 추지 요래 가시야 추지디 베체 세치마마도 펜게 말다 들리 말에 다다 가시 펜거래 배는 노초베 도나 칸데 지고 노초 공소 연탄 배치 보여라 공소 팽기지 요와당 니츠 쳔보지 요 좀센델레 도나 지걸 마타 대가스 맞아 랜덤리 지오 다티지 인지리스트니 말에 공소가 고고요래 thiên 라인 배나 나서 가르치는 죽요래 가르치네 현재 진 디스텐스 소리 가르치네 갈레지야고요래 로 가르치는 갈레고요래 가르치는 에듀케이션 지거래. 가르치는 배샤 싸비거래. 삼노당나 나 대오지 용 그래. 나 지고지 용 그래. 삼는 지거와. 얘네야 지고 뭐네 가네 용투 그래. 대오 뭐네 가리 용투 그래. 와. 대용야도 담배 추어다. 내 카바랑 있나야. 와. 디니 부추데 단다 넘버 상지비 추데 당고 장고도된 장지 무송송아 상지 줌된데 코랑게 서와 칸디도 칸디 치네 코랑 냠랑으로 와 단단 벤데 way of life 와 직텐디 데이터리 마타야 오 추지디 치만도지 텐데 말에 오늘 추운 거네 지 단단한 팽거래 단단한 팽거래 오늘 디시 투거래 텐디인도 추등에 라인 단데네 감로나 디팽거래 너 되네 롱런 너 유중분 디팽거래 세치말 디팽거래 맞서 넓어요다 넓어 다디 고성이 소리야 맞다 삼성 성이 소리서 그러와
So why do we do all of these things, like really apply ourselves and work very hard in our lives, work in our, whether business or education, it's because we wish to be happy. And so how, can we really achieve happiness and well-being? The only true source of that really is the practice of Dharma. which brings about both, happiness in the moment or momentarily, and also in the long run. So it's like the example that His Holiness spoke about, with this life story of the Buddha, and how the Buddha experienced or came to understand the source of overcoming suffering and finding true happiness. And so the teachings of the Buddha are actually a way of life. It's not, sometimes we think, oh, this is going to benefit me in the future, or this is for later on, this is in future lives. But the Dharma actually has benefit, like if we practice, the benefit is experienced right here and right now, because it's through this that we actually can experience directly happiness and well-being. So there's benefit now and there's benefit in the long run. It's really like a precious jewel. So it's important not to lose this jewel that we found.
Tanda Jong hinul sungati anabana lagunare tene chuji tsis jiba lagunare Dharma pada laguna tsona ta yungdu tambo konsolo chungchung gala gomja gdwa gomja be kabla tene chi nyom momatma wandu lagdwa tati tsek mamboji yo ta tsek tsuda chikina ko samari ina ya nyugyo chirong meong sayanga yor ina ya ta Kandariang Koji Nyum Barawando top de Wajava, Num Wajeda Jegrava, was a control langare, control Korang, control Lana, Yang, not so par control the power on your Chitovia, Rava, 17 Yona, 17th power on your Chitovia. Tindiji Tutu Labina, then the Consul Chansa Jagdoa, Chamsi, Chansa Chamsi do Gangi Gorwa, Tinditini. When a same tempo chas on bina, then a gangy teen cartina, gangy donant, and chitogu sarawa. Or that tele Gigi, that he could look so senatanda, that one is tindul tata gogdoa. That the goda, do jam mix it in that and the new gumro chemo, stand goes over it. In a poke and anchoti, go to do, Karsana Montogana, Heda Malavache, then it's over Travada. Aneke Leka Investment Jicha. Tene Tigana Yike Ya, Jig Poo Mutakarin Aptem do Yosarawa, Tindutine, Ta Cha Seko, Chopa Pusho, and over that, Tende or Labroa. In that Tandine Kala Jing Gatsukan, or Jiti, the Chance of Chopa Pusho, Cham Bomb Jig Seko Lamna, Lelo Yomarawa. Kokarsan Sem to go, Jig Nupaji, Labogroa. Shatati Indu. Jig tambo gomja sembe gomti ki choji nyona choji yawa teji choati nyonsa we hyula ta teba jegro wa ko chonyong gore kasi deba togudo benanga so chogo no ji todo no chogo san tis ji ko lodri no chagro wa jechin ni kono tinditine o tinti ke chonyong na ta na gomdriga Tanda Kanzi Tivado, Katsi Nyuktado, Be Zumbling Korala, Problem Chatanga Hakugdoa, Tongdoa, or Tindiji Gabla Sam Huard Nevata, Jangonabuchi Chito Nane, Monetanet and the Gomta, Yakdos, that Gomdo, you Povina.
And so there are many different forms of Dharma practices, so many different methods that were taught by the Buddha. But these sort of fundamental methods that His Holiness was speaking to today, that are such as those found in the Anapanasati, or for instance in the Dhammapada, these are really useful in terms of, because what we're doing in Dharma practice is really pacifying the afflictive emotions in the mind. So that's really the only way to work with the afflictive emotions, is through these methods of meditation. because it doesn't mean that, for instance, we won't have afflictive emotions arise. Maybe anger, afflictions such as anger will arise, but through these really profound methods of meditation, rather than anger or the afflictions controlling us, we can actually control the anger. We have more control over our mind. Rather than the same with emotions such as anxiety. And so as lay people in our daily lives, once in married life and so forth, there are lots of difficulties that come with this. And so this type of meditation is particularly helpful and useful. We're able to, in our daily lives, we're able to endure difficulty and hardship and better deal with them or manage them without being overwhelmed by the emotions that arise. And so, especially in these modern times, just as His Holiness is emphasizing at this time, because of our modern times and all of the challenges and difficulties that come with it, he's really emphasizing the importance of meditation. And this is, why he has founded this practice of Shravasti meditation, based on these the first teachings of the Buddha and what he practiced first in his early life. So sometimes there's more of an emphasis on the active practices, such as making prostrations, making offerings, and there, for instance, with the Mundro practices or the preliminaries, there's 100,000 prostrations, the accumulation of 100,000 prostrations, and that is not easy. It's not easy to accomplish such a thing. And so there has to be like an inner strength or an inner power of the mind that also assists or that is important for such practices, and that can come through meditation. So first, if we focus on meditation, also, as a result of this meditation, such as His Holiness was describing or teaching on, there's real joy that arises. There's the flavor of meditation, which is really beautiful and pleasurable and enjoyable. And so however much pleasure and enjoyment we can actually directly experience from meditation, then true faith arises. Then we really have faith in the Dharma. So it's like eating food. When you eat food, then there's a satisfaction, that comes from the experience of having actually taken in that food, having eaten the food. And so again, especially during this modern age, when there are so many problems in the world, and in our own lives, many difficulties and hardships, it is especially beneficial and especially important to draw from the wisdom of the Buddha and to develop the qualities of calm abiding through meditation.
다 나도 곰자가테 기타 인지나 조금 다 곰자가테 베케침보레 텐드 곰테 다 삼상가서 디스지 레라우로 추고 만이당 빼면서 약보레 만나당야 텐드 내가 인출기도 내가 당보티 가장 싫어한 가서 즉 포화장야 이날에 들어가는 이게다 즉 등단가서 약보요래 상지 그 상지 태양고보다 양고 학파르트게 로겐고 초라 라와 즉 상지 그 끝에 상지 그 송체 태양고보다 화자지 샤고요래 라와 저랑서 화자 샤네 타마들 즉 통로고나 통ren간다고 이렇게 되네 즉 상지꾼다고 즉 템비나 탄대버래 더나 이 포원으로 템비나 탄대버래 대지에 님파데 칼세나 나도 걔네 곰자가 빼케 쳔보래 그러와 나도 소남 룽아케 제탕가서 룽아 이 솜라고도 티엔드 룽아 이 솜케 게와테 카레 휴위나 제탕 루케 베나 차 세야 nga ke tene manan doya telle tene karsene semji ke bomjaga te kechen bore tama tuksa te sem tok de gawa ko lunga ni ko chahi loji ri ko sem ka ti sem temba thopra chiwala ta bomjago bore ti indu ji kaduina sem maing barwa yang 참상가 좀 곰자 도도로 오지 곰대 도지 틀리섬 거 여러 틀리 말에 셈마이 바치아래 셈마이 바칼랍나가 소그 주라 tenden가 치모다 망치직 생다 아 망치직 생기래 네가 연대 영에 여러와 텔라다 시자는 되기래요 아 이는 마시댕에 솔라 가르치고 올라나 nga tso he devar yikpe ki nyingbo seya je yore rawa ti he devar yikpe ki nyingbo seya ti sanje ki sem ta ngarani sem chepa chikang yo mare yonten chasang chang de yore rawa yonten chasang chang de yore sanje le yaga yo mare nga tso duga yo mare sem re da he devar yikpe nyingbo te yin na yang o ta ti na sanje ni chikpa re se na 대지가 말해 양 가서 가서 줄이 뇽 뭐여와 상지 줄라 상라도 상지도 뇽 뭐 상어와 와다 테리 디뇽 뭐한테 내카브레 빼나 답배 약소지 가리요레 수비나 단다 빼는 다와로 빼하는데 다와탕 띵바레 라와 띵바던 다와 빼나 저런 띵반 책이요나 나와양 통구 말에 얘는양 띵바 티킨 나와라 칸 지요면 좀 칸 소요 말에 얘는 그 내가 그 띵바 요비 좀 센터는 나와 통구 말와 다 띵 맞어 내가 그 줄래 뇽 뭐지요래 뇽 바 해당 차도 댄셈 셈테 다 됐다 칭치 다 티기 그놈 그 수익랑디요래 그봐 가르치는 애 팅로거래 그래서 차다래 나서야 지디 차와로 쳐 나라고도 근데 현지도 야디 스만다와지 베다 말왜 이 제타면 삼성 가서 닝제 요래 봐 요래티는 야 삼성 가서 백국사 협定도 나서 직바로 온 거네 저런 나 그래서 세물품이로와 나물 저랑물 저랑 갈아서 대완도 거래 나 대완도 거래 가르치는 이제 나 가르치 찬 거야 조심하지 가르치 당 거래 되는 내 중중도 저기 라고도 고 지기도 라고래 지기로 왔고 정말 너 정말 쌤 만나 요래 남 용마 만나 와 요나요 요청으로 와 얘는 이 라바 잠바나 이때 퍼져 취어 잠바이 용도 약간 요 말아 와 도대체 당대 공원에로 와래 어디인데 딱이야 뒤에 파 마마도스티 뒤에다 때리 데바 와 데바 창원 치와라 다 공자고 그래 와 샘데 콜로로 도지 베나다 단단 가서 양보 섬노 땅비나 단다 디니요 샘 티도와 샘티 섬고 조세야도와 베제 텐디요 차자 친구 샘티 지나라 ngaso dine chudang chuyorwa chudang ten damano tuktok jang tangdina ko chukhonda 좀 소요 말에 chukhona chu도 요래 이나 딱하 내가 두수 동안들어 와 이나 거두네 추 담아 요 말. 그 추변 담아라 와 담아 준 담지 장하리다 당가 tuktok 장하 당되었다 당도 민도 나라 당도 나 당도 장사고 뭐나 효게네 지도 양면의 작당지 제기를 양면의 버적 제기라고도 양면 소리 카타 파장하면도 소리 준다고입니다. 대체 때 tuktok 당되고 와 tuktok 장상 다디디 거 나호 나자리 통야 양마다 이는 거는 축구는 좀 하나 차요 말인 담파도나래 담파마도는 축구는 추랑래 담아랑래 추기치래도 와 가공시야라고 가르치는 두야시로 찾아요래 이는 가서 tuktok 당되고다 다디 같이 당 거다 스미니에서로 다 당고는 거죠. Drupon Trinley Carmego Kagi Tangi Contu and I another said they were equipping with Sanjay Yortina, Tongamatico to Japan, individually, as a rasu to Sudan the other. Tati took the Tangona, Tagom Jagoda, this is leader. Ben a Chundoa and a Chu. Chundangwachu to down, some Dishana. Tenekoji Chunwooting, that's Chagdoa. That Tongo, that Chuchile Chigoda. Oh, Tigana Yigita, Natsuki, Gomdi Jamna. Tene Kale Gomdi Jam Begala, Yanos is on the Tene. That Chadang is Higoda. Chadang Hakozon, Chadang Hakode. Nga stote, tell Chala Cha. Nga. Right? Cook, now you tell me you look change your that Dharma is your day. The cancer do not so done. Nipu Lagroa, Nipomo. Roa, Marve. Ah. Didn't hear Kepu the Pugua, Mare. Cocarcheba Doro. In Nipu, Dubu Casicina, Nipu came in. Part your book to the job I remember ships to that. That it love John Yam, those love door. The tea of a tick, touching out some teaching the quarter. Damn, some tea dam the quarter. One is in a tapaji, the damchi may what you go door. So look the freedom like door, in freedom. Tantang as a chilo little freedom of dumping a yoma dam, get on the time you're in Damada, you're in physically, mentally, this the chilo you get dumb the meadow. Sudam gore, Rana Sudam goda. This stick dam gore. In a Benachoraki, Ni Narapug Nayi, Chorapuk te Pesha take Kalada Ting Mare, the Guayama Cocoram Pama, Himaso Logrova. Yin and do hate Carsena. Oh, Nibu, Zawadoa, Narabukla, unconditional. Kaya to Magabuya Boyona, Nibure, Bugdu Boyona, Nibure. Roa? Then I get Korapuk to Lubjona, Pure, Lubjomina Pure, Bugjolo Yabona Pure. Tinti Jack Lo Jangdo. Tilo Jandu, not so Porjo book to Pato Yonare, Menare, in not so this Hengoda, Tapadamchi, this Luluchagoda, Damgodoa. Oh. What is Damiata, Necaviorita? Tigana Yeke not to choose that choose a choose Pungo jet, Sheton, Tatamahaku, the Jordan danger, the bomb, the Damaradua. You're eating that Nimboto Dushan and Nenga, Yamnetia. That's all Ganjolo Tumara, Chiranso Ganjolo, Ujimare? Yeah. That Chiranso Tabaki, Dampesha, de Ganjolo, Launa, Joya Wayona. Temina bomb lock Laujua. Console that Chiranso Calati, that. Yamnachi took me to a couch, the chicken, call you might kind of lawyer. When it's Yamnachi, what he did that to someone Yamnachi took money. It's a carchi took it. Nenga, Nenga. Roa Changchop Semta Yedam Plus, Changchop Sem Bomb Tombo. Changchop Sem Bomb, the digital ranga to do some Yore, Chamba Yore, Ninja Yore. In the Zambo Bareta. Co-authentic Mare, Zambo Senaji. Chorong de George, Roa. Gambaji, Yoveson, the Gambaji, Mevesona. Chad Yorwa. Tangas a company Yagoda. Oh, Tejigon, Simchela. They want to get Jipa Imba. The name and don't get Jipa Imba. Yango Lakpar 2K, or Mazo Jikta Jachung Chung Tana. Mazo Tadal, the Lagoon, what somehow could have Majon or the Dog Lagoa. It doesn't do it, Majon or the Dog, then do it, or Yaware. In a Tatan Roll Zavacasio, Hakumarwa. In a Tatin door rate to down Murwa, Majigwa. Tam Kawarwa. Yina Yanda, so to some of them that been a papa shut at Chili, configure Lumbaji Chibra, that is on Bangua. One is Harajel Cherwa. Then the Gigi, configure, reduce, put Himalayas and that. Something can move up some of that, but then that Puk gay language, the gay reducing at some of that, Terawa, Povarwa, Yama, that under that Jacam Ram Nagarwa. Oh, Tindi, Kitsewa, the young water. Sewati, Jitu Milizondua, Hempen Lela, 2 million, Tay Samba Tataja, Kayaki Loyo, Tay Jun Jumarchos only. Color worry. Chora Hempen China, lived to Nanjumata Hempen Jumare, Kanjamodoji, Pajoji, Ropachina, that is Pantogi. Sutorin, they were one of the Nangatogro. Near Hempen Chibre, Dunga make it. Chiparidoa. Gericho Samodana Nien Tupa German, Driving Migreta, Checking us was sacred, taking us on Hadagroa. Benjicam is Samodana. Then a Tupa Jagreta, on that Jun Major Corampe. Then 2 grew up, 2 Nangozo Sarda. What in the Nutini, Cham, in the Chancho Sambasiati, not that Namjundong Doa, Kaduna, Sanji, Chodan, Sojin, Jonola, Chanjo, Bada, Japs, Jelagdoa. Yavarda. The Yingagarda. Ma Nankatanya Messenyatam Yelagdo. That is what somebody sometimes to Kaki, Ma Namkatanya Messenyana, Lo Siata Dongurwa. Yinakoji. Take the Tonda Ninja Toyona. Tinin Divya Yungurwa. Take you will have the pencil that is the Yore. Yinayang could take the Tonda Yamlerota. Now the two chili cartigo lagore, Toba, Samba, Gomba lagota. Roa, Tambo to Samba Hako. The Hako Masan Chuta Sodi Chono, La Chancho, the down the Japanese dog is on you Lagudo. That Tetan Yamdu. That Chancho Santis, you go. The native Manam Katanya Messenger Tamji. Huge Kitating Chamboda Cowboy, the Inayang, Cosimjan, this in Gitango. What I did, I got that I'm mobile of stage, that degree. What I'm going to go in that. That Gom Jaratella, Tangi, Jango, no zone. Tajapanga to Gom Jarati, Jango in the Rukanda, New Shravasti Gumdrov Sayatella, Chetachina, Yamaju Jagore. Yamaju Jamata Lamrebe, she the Jungum, Koran Temba Neria, Tatangi, you know, so much song. That they could Yama Koya, and Rochi today, not so Hine. Today, Hine, Hine, Tension, Demi, say that, Roti, that total Chajachamo Pardo, Gomjago water. And that is that and a young Mara, Jacina, not a monk, but how you say it, Gom this, Yenayata, Tanda, the Gom to do same mind body. Gom to Dodo Chicacha, Yomar. Gom Sayati. That lam de gom sayadi doa, gom sayadi, Karisena, Dodoji gom de Yomare. Semrama Machuba. Gom sayad choji didi, Kalekabu injury. In a cho he some Pele or can't chigumata, Shashota. Ta Shasha did that. Chikan dongomare, gom gomare. Supu and Dharma Chig Marin Kaya Gomata, Tashaho, Rama Lagda Rama, Natural Lavore, ordinary man Lagda, Takaya Maji, Roa, Chishada, Roa, Kaya, Semaimba, Semain Senta, not to theory, Gomja Labia, Namdo Shag the Medzuland. Oh,
So, actually, Drupon asked me not to translate because it was taking a lot of time, but to pick up now, so that we can do some of the meditation. So he was just saying that this Shravasti meditation that His Holiness has designed usually is done in the context of a 10-day retreat, as he spoke of. During the course of those 10 days, then you go step by step through the progressive pages of the stages, mainly focusing on the 4 foundations of mindfulness, which becomes a practice of shine, or calm abiding, shamatha meditation. And then that develops, it gets deeper and deeper. And in the Tibetan tradition, you have the categories of shamatha with characteristics, shamatha without characteristics, and you train in these, you develop these until eventually it becomes Mahamudra. Of course, to get to that level takes a long time and is not easy. But generally, any time that we're practicing meditation, we are practicing non-distractedness. So we're abiding with our attention on the practice without becoming distracted. Sometimes when meditating, we think that, there's something, like some sort of substantial or solid thing that we're doing or meditating upon. But actually what it really comes down to is just resting the mind, letting the mind naturally settle, kind of dropping into the natural abiding of awareness. So on the one hand, sometimes we feel like, oh, meditation is so difficult. But on the other hand, it's actually very easy. We're just resting. We're not doing anything. We're not exerting ourselves in any particular activity physically, and we're not engaging the mind. We're just resting in natural, ordinary awareness. And so that's what meditation is. It is just sustaining, undistracted attention, undistracted awareness.
Jinga to the Martin dogs and sometimes the Danda Uyun and degrees on Rodano. Tanga Tindo Ripatina, Namashima Yungumendwa. Then, oh no, all the tongue, all the Rajiri, all Tara, all this is England at Anas, loves one England. Tinea, what that Tingola, Rojeta Dina, Namashima, this Chungrua, or Tinity, not so Permangaji Gumianda.
So Holiness also mentioned that, first we meditate on the breath in such a way that we're, at first the concepts or the thoughts are very coarse, so it's helpful to meditate on the breath in such a way. He was mentioning, with the long exhalation and long inhalation, and especially with the exhalation, when we have a long exhalation, that helps to kind of let go of the busyness of discursive thought. So we have a long, and sometimes with sound too. So if we have the long exhalation together with sometimes when you add a sound to it, it helps to keep the mind undistracted, to really just stay with the breath. And so maybe we can meditate in this way for about 5 minutes or so. With the object is the long inhalation and exhalation of the breath.
Okay, then also gom Yashing Yovaina, Kargom and Digro, Gom Yang, this Yatu Medozana, then walk till the Can you make the 5 minutes? So.
And so for those of you who already have a meditation practice, if there's some other way that you're familiar with meditating, it's fine to also meditate in that way that you're familiar with. For those of you who are more new to it, then you can try with this method of using the breath, following the breath with the long inhalation and exhalation.
tanda tung tung dana do sta rangi dana digro ta inchi kama jon digdo tung tung dana digre sta jitang rangi do just natural breathing tinichi ne yang karma ngaji maybe you could bigger sound you can make
Something louder to
mark your
the
bell.
The bell. I have a bell. I'll do the 5 minutes. Okay. So now we're meditating with a short breath, inhalate, just natural breathing.
That thing, Nima Tigarana, Chinabke, Koji, 2 Mayewa, Jong Mochi, the taller Gachu Nawade, Tinami Titolang, so dang 2 Mayela, then 2 Mayewas. Some did it go like that, then 2 Yena, Tini Chinab the sea and this. Tinita then, that Jorgo, then 2 Mayewas on the Tini, and then 2 years more watching also. Jong Mochi nowadays. Ti den te ga ga di chi ta nga so ten bi da ba tem de ro ti ni chu tang ji ten jing den jong ma tho wa an chu yo ma ro ten de ne ko ten de chi do la ta nga so tu tung dong ji chong bu de ten de da ti ne yang ta ma wong ba la yin na yang a zo jing cham cham so to tap to also to tap the Tindico Jia, Chomasi Marwa, Marang on some Tangi, Marang on some Tangi, take China Bayina, to so low Tindi, Chombina, telling us a chip, Pena, Power was some Tambina, Power Yamla, take Kashi, Loa, Tun Jig Lowas, and Yama Jing Low, Power Yamna Chi Tona, the chance of get Chi Tugre, Chi Hingra. Chia yore. The telling of the power duty, Lame Chiano, the Yabodare, in a Chijumoni Chirachi Goda. Round to prepare Yuna, Tene, Lamajik Chinabjana Tibgua. In a round to Jul Hacha Kaya Meva Jigla, Lama Candiza Chimboina. This covered the wa. When Gurumboch almost showed the do. Tene, strong death and Semo, Kuch, that he much you love do. Then Gurumbochi, Nipachi, Sio Mari, and Gurumbochi, Kenamhi, so town do Tene, make this start out like Diamatovic, Nupamanoa. In a Sanji, in a Kuji task of Tino Amanoa, Yomare, Tendu, Chia, Samarachi Goa. That Indian. Peke Chembori, Wang, Long, Chi, Lame Chenap. Ti Tola, that's Rana Chigoda, Sanji Jim de Corazondoa, the Peke Chemborda. Near the children, Tarve tap, dang, goes on doa. Langa Chata, thank you, direction. Thank you, use on it. In the growth of maturity, Chirasola rally, the song of Matovic. That no problem, I think those Chiras and Yeti Lord Zoom door. Sanji Jim then the King Chess your marwata. Tell it chance of somebody your marwa. Sometimes your dinner cook Kansa Kozo, let Hamolam Cotini Jimmy. Sanji Jim then the Luniton Nabjim Wola Chong, I thought I don't have it. Ya Temedo. Sanji Jim then the taste hardy in a young so young, Balembele Hachi did it. Korean hard door. What he do? Yalachi go for it. Yalachina? Puina to gray. Pomoina to gray, Gengo in a to gray, Lochunjun to gray. Chitam Majiri Mato top tam mato means on what in the inutile. Tinida, Tigana ye gom jalin, gom jarato. Didn't I say Yanimares gom jarake, Coco in Sigra, and Tining Aranke, Sam Hagi, then to you che. Oh, Conjure, Gorway, Young Commons, the non de Malan, Yuman, Suan, Denze, John Zoye, Chavis, and the water, then you, Jamborabo, Jedoran, Jambo, Don Condo, Sambo, Deyan, Tigin. La Gunji, Jesus, Dalo, Chegawa, the Datam Chiro, do. La so, Taya, such a Shimbajal do, Lapson, and do that.